Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're still doing well. We're sitting here with the new Ludwig Total Percussion Pad. Thank you again to Ben Flint for sending this to me and for allowing me the opportunity to review this on my channel. I really appreciate that. If you haven't seen the unboxing video that we've done for this, I highly recommend you go back and check that out. In that video, what we were talking about was how to go from having just a box with some stuff in it to being able to get sound out of this unit and for you to be able to hear that sound. We talked about what else you might need in order to be able to do that. In this video, what I want to focus on is I want to focus more on the sounds that are already built into this unit, the kits that are already built into this unit. The way Ludwig has designed this, they've designed it very specifically for working musicians and working drummers to be able to quickly adapt to whatever the circumstances are that they're working in. So the way they've done this is they've programmed a certain number of sounds into the unit already, and they've also programmed 20 kits, 20 different kits using these 9 different pads. But they've also then programmed 80 other kits that don't have anything assigned to them. What does that mean? That means that the unit memory is capable of remembering 100 unique drum sets, so to speak. But only 20 of them are used when you take this out of the box. So you have 80 kits available for you to create whatever you want. So that's a really cool feature of this Total Percussion Pad, is that it's very specifically designed for working musicians, people who have an image of how they're going to use this. But if you are maybe a working musician who is brand new to using this type of technology, or if you're just brand new to drumming, brand new to music, and you've never dealt with the programming aspect of owning an electronic instrument, that's what I'd like to talk about today. I'd like to dive into what the 20 kits are that are pre-programmed, what sounds are in there, and hopefully give you a kind of a window to be able to understand what those kits are and how they work, so that you might be able to mess around with them and be able to turn them into something that you can use for you. So let's dive in. If you look at the overhead camera, hopefully you can see that this says Percussion. And if you really zoom in, hopefully you can see that in the top left corner of the screen it says F001. What that means is that we're on, I'm going to keep talking to this camera. What that means is that we're on kit number 1. And if I scroll 1 backwards, you can see it goes all the way up to U100. So, as I said, this unit can store up to 100 unique kits. Anyway, the first kit is called Percussion, and let's just see what the sounds are. Okay, that's got some different sounds. It does sound like they're kind of mostly skewed towards sort of Latin instruments. So anything Afro-Cuban or Brazilian, anything that would qualify as Latin music. That sounds like what they're going for with this. Now, one cool thing about all 9 of these pads is that you can program up to 2 different sounds per pad, and have the different sounds triggered by how hard you hit the pad. So I think a couple of these pads have that. So let's double check. Okay, this one only has 1 sound. You can hear the sound doesn't change whether I'm hitting it soft or loud. Now let's try this one. Okay, so this one does have 2 different sounds programmed. Now, obviously, the first option you have available to you is to just use it as it is. If you want to know what those two different sounds are, what you would do, if you take a look at the top camera here, what you would do is out of these buttons that are right here, you can see that home right now is lit up blue, and that's what's showing on the screen. If I hit the pad button, now you see the pad button is blue and the home button is gray, and you'll see that the screen has changed. Now if I look at the top line, the one that's highlighted, it says PR_conga L. Okay? So that's one of the sounds. I think actually that's the primary sound that's programmed into this pad. If you look at the bottom, you see that there's three different kind of screens that you can access here. One is called Wave A, one is called Wave B, and the third one is called Mode. So right now Wave A is selected, and so Wave A is PR_conga low. That's the sound that is programmed into this unit. Now if I hit F2, I've now accessed the Wave B screen, and that sound is PR_conga LO. So you can, that's how you can program two different sounds on the same pad to be played at the same time. So there's one sound, and there's the other sound. Now if I hit F3, now we're accessing Mode, the Mode screen. And right away, what's highlighted is something, a submenu called Type, and it says that right now that the type is set to switch. So what that means is that once it registers your hits at a certain velocity, it will switch from one sound to the other. And right below where it says switch, there's a number. In this case, it's 115. So that number, that 115, is going to be the velocity that it's switching at. Hopefully that makes sense. So what, in terms of a practical demonstration, what does that mean? If I'm hitting softly, I'm hitting below velocity 115. So that means that it's going to play one sound. If I hit hard, I'm playing above velocity 115, so it's going to play the other sound. That's what that means. Now you can switch, all pun intended there. You can change what type you're looking at. You can have it play Wave A only, which means that it's only going to play one sound no matter how loud you hit. Now to me that sounds, from what I remember when we first started playing this pad, that sounds like the first sound, the softer sound. So now I know that the softer sounds are going to be assigned to Wave A and the louder sounds are going to be assigned to Wave B. Again, hopefully that makes sense. I can also switch to Wave B only, which will give me the other sound, the louder sound, no matter how hard I hit. Simultaneously is exactly what you think. That means Wave A and B played at the same time, no matter how loud you hit. Switch, which we were on before, and round robin, which I actually haven't messed around with yet. Okay, so again, no matter how hard you hit, round robin means that it just alternates between Wave A and Wave B. And I think, oh, mix. Mix, again, I'm learning things as we're going along here as well. It sounds like what mix is doing is it's always playing Wave A, but once you get above the threshold, it's then adding Wave B into it. Hopefully that makes sense. Fade. Fade is pretty much the same as mix, and that's it. So let's go back to switch. Now, if I wanted to, well, we'll get there a little bit long. We'll get there a little bit farther on down the road. So that's how you can adjust the different sounds. If you just want to know what they are, then hit pad and just go back and forth between the F1 and F2 buttons, which will get you between wave A and wave B. That way you know what sounds are being triggered. So if I do that on kit number 1, looks like we have a cowbell, we have a low conga, we have a higher conga, we've got a bongo, a lower bongo, that's some sort of shaker, that's a splash, that's a jam block, wood block sort of thing, and a clave. So that's kit number 1. Now let's see. I'm gonna rifle. We're gonna. It's probably important to say at this point that for this video specifically, what I really want to do is I really want to just demonstrate what's already programmed in. In the next video in this kind of series, we'll dive into how to adjust these different kits. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust each one of the kits to where I feel like I would be able to use it. And hopefully, in the course of that process, you'll be able to figure out how you would use it for your needs. So, what we're going to do right now is we're just going to rifle through the other 19 pre-programmed kits and just kind of get a sense of what they are. So that's sort of Afro-Cuban Latin percussion type of stuff. Let's see, kit number 2, and in case you didn't see that, take a look at the top camera here. In order to get from kit to kit, all I'm doing is I'm pressing these buttons down here, the plus and minus buttons. You can also do the same thing by toggling this knob. All right, so kit number 2 says Latin. Let's see what Latin sounds like. Okay, so these 3 sound like timbales. Now let's go back into pad and just confirm that. Okay, so we have on pad number 7 here, we have timbale. Let's see. Okay, so this one, pad number 7, the highest timbale sound at low volumes is just, it would be the equivalent of playing just the head of the timbale, and at louder volumes would be the equivalent of a rim shot on the timbale. Let's see if that holds true for the other 2. Here's the slightly lower one. Yep, okay. Okay, so for all 3 of the timbales, that holds true. At low volumes, it's just the head. And as soon as you play harder on these, it would be the equivalent of playing a rim shot. All right, so that's some sort of wood block. And again, there's 2 different pitches of wood block programmed into this one pad, and you trigger them both by hitting the pad at different volumes. So soft and loud. Same thing for this one, although it's different pitches. Okay, interesting. This one is a break drum, and there's only one sound programmed into this pad. There is no wave B assigned right now. Okay, that's a crash. And it seems as though there's 2 different crashes assigned to that, but they sound very similar to my ear. Same thing there. We've got a splash cymbal. Officially, we have 2 different splash cymbals, but they sound very similar. And now we have a cowbell. And just like the wood blocks, we have 2, it's not 2 different pitches. This would be the equivalent. Most timbali players have their timbales, and they have a cowbell that's kind of set up sideways so that they can either play kind of on the top or on the edge of the cowbell. So that's what we have here. We have soft, which would be the equivalent of on top, and loud, which would be the equivalent of striking the edge of the cowbell. So that's that kit. Let's go back to the home, and we'll go to the next kit, dance. Okay, so we've got some interesting sounds there. I think at this point you probably get the idea of how we would go about figuring out what those different sounds are. That one. Maybe this one. Maybe those sounds appeal to you. They don't appeal as much to me, so I'm gonna skip this one for now. World. This sounds vaguely djembe based. Let's find out. Yep, okay, that's a djembe. So this one is a djembe slap, and that's the only thing that's programmed into this pad. This one has a djembe tone and PR_EWE1. I don't know what that is. But okay. Bamboo clapper. That's cool. Yep. Okay. So that's going to be an African jingle. And okay, that's going to be djembe bass. So if I was going to play more of a djembe sort of pattern. That's more of a djembe pad. And the other sound on this pad is concert bass drum 1. Interesting. Okay. If it was me and I was playing this particular kit for something, especially if I was going to do anything with the djembes, what I would probably do is I would either take out the other sounds on these 2 pads and just have it be djembe tone and djembe bass. That way I could get the 3 different sounds that you can really get out of a djembe. You can get put these down. On a djembe you can get a slap sound, obviously, by kind of hitting the edge with the heel of your hand and the head with kind of the tips of your fingers, like that. You can get a tone by flattening your hand out and just striking on the edge. And you can get a bass tone by flattening your hand out and hitting in the center. So I would probably set it up so that I was only getting those 3 sounds. Either that, or what I could also just do is go to that pad, go to mode, and instead of having it be set to switch, I would just do wave A only, since that's djembe tone. So that's those would be things I would do. There's another djembe slap. That's a finger cymbal. Frame drum. And some sort of cowbell. Let's see. Yep, same thing here. We have 2 different frame drums. Okay, cool. Home, next kit, marimba. Okay, now I could be wrong. I might be wrong, but I do believe that for the marimba sounds and the vibraphone sounds and potentially the xylophone sounds, Ludwig actually sampled their own instruments. Since part of Ludwig is the Musser factory. I might be mispronouncing that. But Musser is the main brand that supplies marimbas and vibraphones and xylophones to schools across the country. So I could be wrong, but I think they sampled their own instruments in order to be able to make these. All right, so they've gone for the lower octaves of the marimba. Let's see if we can't figure out what scale they're using. Well, it's definitely a major scale. Now, using relative pitch, I suspect that what they've done is they've based this on C major. So the lowest note would be C, and then it would go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and then D. So you're getting a full octave of a C major scale plus 1 more. So, you know, if you were going to be, if all you were going to do was mess around with what's built in here, realistically, you can play those 9 different notes in different scalar ways. But if you're going to follow chords, you can really only follow, I guess. Well, you could arpeggiate 2 chords with 4 notes, because you can do C chord, or you could do D minor. And then I guess you also have E minor. You have F major with the 5th in the bass as well. And same thing, you have G major with the 5th in the bass. Some of you might not know what any of that means, and that's okay. Anyway, in theory, you should be able to change what pitch is being made. And I was right. This lowest note here is MA_marimba _C1. So let's see, if I go to pitch, oh, interesting. Okay. Once again, I apologize for being a little bit slow about this. I'm learning things as we're going here as well. So you can change the pitch. There's 2 different pitch numbers. The second pitch number is on a scale from -50 to +50, and that simply refers to the number of cents, sharp or flat, that it is. So if for whatever reason you're trying to deal with something that's microtonal, this can be a way you can program that. But if you're dealing with, if you're not dealing with microtonal music, then you have, it looks like, a scale from minus 12 to 12 in half-step increments. So you can tune this chromatically by up to 1 octave, if that makes sense. So I can either go from C1 up 1 octave chromatically to C2, or I can tune this down an octave to C0, again, chromatically. So anyway, and it looks like you can do that with all of these. So you do have the ability to mix and match different pitches, but it still is a little bit limited. Anyway, let's see, next, Vista Light. Okay, so one of the cool things that Ludwig has done is inside of this unit they have programmed. Obviously, they have programmed some acoustic, or they've sampled acoustic drum sets and have programmed them into this unit. And all of the acoustic drum sets that they've sampled are their own. So in this case, we're looking at a Vista Light drum set, which are acrylic shells. John Bonham was famous for playing a Vista Light. And also, I think Alex Van Halen played Vista Lights a couple different times throughout his career. But anyway, so you have bass drum, snare drum, 3 toms, and then crash cymbal, china, and ride, and hi-hat. Now, one of the things we'll get to in another video down the road is adding pedals and other triggers to this unit. And I suspect that's how you would be able to open and close the hi-hat. But for right now, all I have is an open hi-hat. So that's a Vista Light kit. One of the other kind of sub-menu items that's in here is you can adjust the volume of any individual pad. So if you feel like the drums aren't loud enough, or you feel like the cymbals are too loud, you can adjust for that. Remember that if like in my particular case, I feel like I would want the cymbal volume to be down a little bit from where it's at right now. And it looks like all of these pads, that one's a 67. So apart from the hi-hat, all of these pads are at volume 100. So if I want the cymbals to be quieter than the drums, then I'm just going to have to turn the cymbals down by a lot and leave the drums at 100 where they are right now. Anyway, and that capability is in the pad menu. Set add-on. All right, so that's 2 different cowbell sounds. So I think just based on the name, what they're talking about here is they're talking about if you're playing an acoustic drum set, these would be sounds that you can add on. So that's why they have a cowbell. They have 2 different cowbells, in fact. And they have snap sound, plus a couple different sounds that, in combination with a snare drum, might add like a reverb type of effect or so on, or something like that. That's going to be a shake, so on and so forth. Next, effects pit. So that's that round robin. That's that round robin type of programming where it switches pitch based on how many times I've hit it. That's a silly sound. Perfect if you're dealing with anything that has an explosion in it. I don't know why that reminds me of the Platinum Shuffle all of a sudden, but anyway. And just in case you need to freak out your roommates or whoever lives with you, you know, you can always say, hey, somebody's calling you. Anyway, vibing, okay. So, again, here's a vibraphone. They've set this up so that the notes ring for a pretty long time. So this is definitely one that I would mess around with chords more than true scalar stuff. I think this is also based on C. Maybe. Let's see. C. That's an A. F. Interesting. All right, so it's a very interesting set of notes that they have here, but you can definitely create anything in A minor because you have A, C, you have actually three different A's, a couple different C's, and an E, so you can definitely do anything in A minor. You have a couple different F's, and you have one D, so you have some options here, but it's definitely not just like a C scale or anything like that. So that's pretty cool. Crotales. Same kind of thing there. Minor timpani. Ooh. Let's see what notes we're dealing with here. D, E, F, G, A, B, C, up an octave, D, and then E. So this one is perfectly scalar, starting on D and ending on E. So you're basically getting a D minor, D Dorian actually. Either D minor or D Dorian scale. Metal fun. This one's got some fun sounds in it. Right off the bat, I love this one. Specifically because I can already hear a rhythm in there. or something like that anyway. This would be one that I would definitely mess around with. Carnival. Okay. Tabla. Now, tabla, you have some fun options, or at least I feel like I would have some fun options. There was a period of time where I studied playing the tabla pretty intensively. It could definitely be fun for me to try and replicate some of the patterns that I used to play on the tabla on here, or you could do something more like I know Danny Carey uses a lot of tabla samples in Tool songs, so you could definitely mess around with that. Plates. I think these top three are actually all different gong sounds. Let's find out. Gong sheet hit. Gong sheet B. And that's hitting gong right there. Okay. Oct xylo. All right, this. So you got a xylophone. And actually, this one is tuned to an A. So this is definitely an A major scale all the way up. So you go from an A, same as the marimba. You go A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, and then B. Let's see, oak. Oak is going to mean classic oak, which is another Ludwig kit. In fact, that's the shells that I have behind me, although mine are called Keystone X. Keystone X got rebranded as classic oak. That shell is a maple interior with oak on the outside. So same as before, same as the Vistalite. Got a bass drum, snare drum, toms, crash, other crash, third crash, hi-hat, CL maple, which is going to be classic maple, which if you've seen other videos on my channel, you know I also own a classic maple kit. So, bass drum, snare drum, toms, cymbal, hi-hat, machine, okay. That's definitely touching more into the 808 type of area, especially the hi-hat. Okay, so the snare drum, in this particular case, there's two different snare drums. One of them is more of a rim shot, and one of them is more of a center snare. So again, that would be something that I would mess around with, making sure that I got because I in this particular case I like the rim shot more than the non-rim shot. So I would play around. I'd probably set it to just play the rim shot sound. In fact, let's do that. Let's see. If I go mode. Yeah, it's wave B only. Okay. And last but not least, E bongo. That's got some, yeah, okay. So anyway, hopefully that helps. I realize that went on a little bit longer than I meant it to, but hopefully you can start to see what kits are already built into this unit. If that's all that you're planning on using with this unit, hopefully now you can start to see how you can adjust things to fit whatever your particular requirements are.